be a real seeker after truth, it is necessary that at least once in your life you doubt, as far as possible, all things. Conquer yourself rather than the world. Doubt is the origin of wisdom. Common sense is the most widely shared commodity in the world, for every man is convinced that he is well supplied with it. Except our own thoughts, there is nothing absolutely in our power. It is not enough to have a good mind, the main thing is to use it well. To know what people really think, pay attention to what they do rather than what they say. The greatest minds are capable of the greatest vices as well as of the greatest virtues. I desire to live in peace and to continue the life I have begun under the motto, to live well, you must live unseen. It is only prudent never to place complete confidence in that by which we have even once been deceived. You just keep pushing. You just keep pushing. I made every mistake that could be made, but I just kept pushing. But in my opinion, all things in nature occur mathematically. I doubt, therefore I think, therefore I am. In order to seek truth, it is necessary once in the course of our life to doubt, as far as possible, of all things. Divide each difficulty into as many parts as is feasible and necessary to resolve it. In order to improve the mind, we ought less to learn than to contemplate. For I found myself embarrassed with so many doubts and errors that it seemed to me that the effort to instruct myself had no effect other than increasing the discovery of my own ignorance. Each problem that I solved became a rule which served afterwards to solve other problems. Let whoever can do so deceive me. He will never bring it about that I am nothing, so long as I continue to think I am something. At last I will devote myself sincerely and without reservation to the general demolition of my opinions. Because reason is the only thing that makes us men and distinguishes us from the beasts, I would prefer to believe that it exists in its entirety in each of us. So blind is the curiosity by which mortals are possessed that they often conduct their minds along unexplored routes, having no reason to hope for success, but merely being willing to risk the experiment of finding whether the truth they seek lies there. I am accustomed to sleep and in my dreams to imagine the same things that lunatics imagine when awake. Whenever anyone has offended me, I try to raise my soul so high that the offence cannot reach it. When I turn my mind's eye upon myself, I understand that I am a thing which is incomplete and dependent on another, and which aspires without limit to ever greater and better things. For the very fact that my knowledge is increasing little by little is the most certain argument for its imperfection. The reading of all good books is like a conversation with the finest minds of past centuries. The first precept was never to accept a thing as true until I knew it as such without a single doubt. My third maxim was to try always to master myself rather than fortune, and change my desires rather than changing how things stand in the world. I had become aware as early as my college days that no opinion, however absurd and incredible, can be imagined that has not been held by one of the philosophers. It is not my design to teach the method that everyone must follow in order to use his reason properly, but only to show the way in which I have tried to use my own. For to be possessed of a vigorous mind is not enough. The prime requisite is rightly to apply it. It is thus quite certain that the constitution of the true religion, the ordinances of which are derived from God, must be incomparably superior to that of every other. The thinking of the mind is twofold: understanding and willing. The very desire to seek the truth often causes people who do not know how it should be sought correctly to make judgments about things that they do not perceive, and in that way they make mistakes. It is just as valuable to be censured by friends as it is splendid to be praised by enemies. We desire praise from those who do not know us, but from friends we want the truth. To attain the truth in life, we must discard all the ideas we were taught. The will determines itself. It should not be described as blind any more than vision should be described as deaf. All that is necessary to right action is right judgment, and to the best action, the most correct judgment. I resolve to feign that all of those things which have entered into my mind were no more true than the illusions of my dreams. It is a common failing of mortals to deem the more difficult the fairer. Several years have now passed since I first realised how numerous were the false opinions that in my youth I had taken to be true, and thus how doubtful were all those that I had subsequently built upon them. By intuition, I mean not the wavering assurance of the senses or the deceitful judgment of a misconstructed imagination, but a conception formed by unclouded mental attention, so easy and distinct as to leave no room for doubt in regard to the thing we are understanding. Nature teaches me that so many other bodies exist around mine, of which some are to be avoided, some sought after. I had always a most earnest desire to know how to distinguish the true from the false, in order that I might be able clearly to discriminate the right path in life and proceed it with confidence. It appears to me that I have discovered many truths more useful and more important than all I had before learned or even had expected to learn. If I find some reason for doubt in each of my beliefs, that will be enough to reject all of them. Gratitude is a species of love excited in us by some action of the person for whom we have it, and by which we believe that he has done some good to us, or at least that he has had the intention of doing so. I am, I exist, is necessarily true every time I utter it or conceive it in my mind. Keep walking as straight as he can in one direction, never changing it for slight reasons, even if mere chance made him choose it in the first place. For in this way, even if he does not go exactly where he wishes, he will at least end up in a place where he is likely to be better off than in the middle of a forest.